On camera, she laughed while she badgered her staff. And so all good things must end. And also the Ellen DeGeneres show. Yes, the 83-year-old entertainer just announced that the upcoming 19th season of her show will be its last. Apparently, she created a workplace more toxic than an Amazon warehouse in Chernobyl.
She was going to be the last big biatch of Ellen DeGeneres. So her show got canceled after she had a hefty exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, "Oh, I had a birthday party," and Ellen said, "Well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me." I'm like, "No, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened." And Ellen had blown her off. And I tried to find the victim on set. Anyway, it led to article after article of people being like, Ellen is a nasty person.
Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly just dropped the act and tore into Ellen DeGeneres like a greeting card in a tornado. From phony grins to controlling behavior behind the scenes, they highlighted the flaws in daytime TV's sparkling star. Gutfeld ridiculed her "be kind" brand as a soft-colored scam, while Megyn broke down the facade with cold accuracy. This wasn't just a critique, it was a full-on takedown of Ellen's carefully crafted image. Get ready, kindness just came with a harsh dose of reality.
Dana, Ellen is blaming this on misogyny, but there were females that were involved in criticizing her and her staff.
Yeah, Ellen is a nasty person, and all these staffers started to come out. Not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice person.
Gutfeld didn't even try to hide his grin. The moment Ellen DeGeneres' name came back into the spotlight, he knew the takedown practically wrote itself. This was a woman once celebrated as the ruler of daytime happiness, the reigning queen of quirky dance entrances, soft-colored sweaters, and empty inspirational catchphrases. But in Greg's view, that cheerful image had soured like milk in a hot microwave. And now, the moment of truth had arrived.
Countless allegations surfaced last summer that the show's work environment was rife with harassment and discrimination. Following those charges, Ellen's ratings dropped faster than Kevin Spacey's pants at a boy band pool party. Try to say that fast. But Ellen told the Today Show, home of Matt Lauer, that the bad press actually had nothing to do with her decision. Right, and the Titanic didn't hit an iceberg. It chose to sink.
He kicked off the roast with the enthusiasm of someone who'd been counting down to this moment for years. He claimed Ellen's whole empire was based on a single word: nice. Just nice. A personality so forcefully friendly, it could make a group of golden retrievers seem aggressive. But once the curtain was pulled back, the reality was a different story. Her show reportedly had more behind-the-scenes tension than a Real Housewives reunion after too many tequila shots.
DeGeneres fails for the UK. All right, I'm going to go to you first, Kat. This is I think you understand the story. So Ellen and her wife, Portia, have left their millionaire haven of Montecito for England. Now, they're saying they'll never come back in the wake of Trump's win. Do you think that's the reason why she's leaving?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, Ellen got canceled for real a few years ago from just being a...
Yeah.
Greg doubled down on the irony, cracking up over the fact that Ellen built a billion-dollar empire on kindness, yet allegedly ran her studio like a military camp for overworked assistants and nervous interns. He joked that the only thing more intimidating than being summoned to Ellen's office was trying to meet her gaze while handing her a not-quite-hot coffee. If the temperature wasn't spot on, you were one glare away from a full-blown HR investigation.
She's coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right response.
Yeah.
She's got a Netflix special. And here's the capper. On the promo, and apparently there's now articles out about from people who have seen the preview, she plays the victim. And she says, "For me," and she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood.
He likened the whole thing to discovering your kindergarten teacher moonlighted as a lone shark. The shock wasn't just about the toxic workplace. It was about the betrayal of belief. People didn't just watch Ellen. They believed in her. She wasn't just a talk show host. She was a movement. A walking, talking inspirational quote wrapped in cruelty-free fabric and Hollywood glitter. And when the behind-the-scenes stories exploded, the public reaction nearly broke the internet.
In the meantime, to make sure that my staff isn't pissed at me like Ellen, I had my assistant, James, ask them how stuff is going so far.
So how's Greg behind the scenes lately?
Oh, unbelievable. When I first got this job, Greg flew to Arkansas and packed my bags for me. And then when we got to New York, he said I could live at his apartment and he would go stay at a youth hostel. Which doesn't really make sense, but oh yeah, the show's been great.
Well, my wedding dress got destroyed right before the wedding.
Greg wasn't finished. He mocked how Ellen's show gradually turned into an assembly line of fake happiness. He said, if you paid attention, the smiles got more strained with each season, like everyone on set was being held hostage by a Pinterest board. At one point, even the audience clapping felt uneasy, like someone off camera was flashing a smile or else sign next to the cue cards. Then he went full Gutfeld. He said the most impressive part of Ellen's career wasn't her dance moves or witty monologues. It was how she managed to convince the world that being artificially nice was a moral high ground. It wasn't genuine. It was a performance. She wasn't hosting a talk show. She was running a daytime cult, where the Kool-Aid was organic and the initiation ritual involved crying next to a C-list celebrity. He brought up her famous, "Be kind" slogan, the phrase she slapped on every part of her brand like it was some sacred mantra. Be kind, she preached. Greg rolled his eyes, saying it felt less like a heartfelt suggestion and more like a passive-aggressive threat, the kind of saying you'd find stitched into a throw pillow in a haunted Airbnb. This wasn't kindness. It was calculated, curated, market-tested, weaponized kindness.
Because, so now she's out there saying, I was run out of Hollywood. She's actually reportedly complaining about how hard it is for women in America with the double standard.
Look at Oprah, how hard it is for her.
She's got, what, like 10 houses, Ellen DeGeneres?
Michelle Obama, look how hard it is for women in America. They're hurting.
They're going to let her back in, Rob, because she's a leftist and she didn't hit one of their sacred cows.
He turned the spotlight on Ellen's notorious celebrity interviews, ridiculing how each segment felt like a scripted therapy session for stars with nothing meaningful to say. Greg joked that watching those interviews was like being stuck at brunch with people who only talk about their meditation routines and how dairy wrecked their energy. It was empty chatter layered with more fluff and topped off with a fake laugh delivered with the enthusiasm of a mall greeter. Then he took aim at the merchandise, snickering at the empire of Ellen-branded goods, from notepads to dog sweaters. Nothing screams genuine like a factory-made coffee mug telling you to live your best life, he said, all sold by someone who reportedly made employees cry for breathing too loud. The irony, he added, was thick enough to spread on toast. Greg closed his segment by saying Ellen's downfall wasn't surprising, it was long overdue. She didn't fall from grace. She tripped over her own image and blamed the lighting. Now that the dance breaks were gone and the curtain pulled back, the public finally saw what was really behind all the giggles and glitter. And just as Greg finished shredding her persona with his usual sting, Megyn Kelly stepped up, calm, composed, and entirely unimpressed.
This is a pretty exhausting investigation into my staff there, Kat. I think we can safely say that I am not a jerk.
No.
Despite the rumors. Do you think it's just people, when you become successful, you have to spend less time with people around you because you're servicing, take Ellen DeGeneres, she's servicing millions of people in her show, therefore she has to kind of like mitigate or control the amount of exposure with actual real people.
Megyn approached the roast like a seasoned attorney delivering closing arguments. No shouting, no eye rolls, just precision. To her, Ellen wasn't merely a celebrity who'd gone off track. She was the face of Hollywood's most grating hypocrisy. Megyn argued that Ellen embodied the worst of celebrity culture's obsession with performative virtue, and she was ready to peel back the layers. She framed Ellen not as a real person, but as a runaway brand, a public relations Frankenstein pieced together by image consultants and showrunners who believed that constant smiling could pass for substance. In Megyn's view, Ellen had perfected the art of looking genuine while operating in an environment fueled by control and overmanagement. Every laugh was part of a checklist. Every warm moment was timed to the second. Then Megyn drilled into the workplace scandal, not glossing over it, but laying it out like a formal accusation. A toxic environment, emotional manipulation, a system where silence was rewarded and speaking up came with consequences. And all of it happened while Ellen's face beamed from billboards promoting compassion and empathy. Megyn labeled it emotional gaslighting on a mass production scale. She didn't laugh out of amusement but with the cold clarity of someone who saw through the act. Ellen's version of kindness, she said, was purely transactional. It worked as long as you were useful. But the moment you became inconvenient, an assistant with a question, a guest without enough star power, or a staffer allergic to her favorite scent, you were disposable.
This is the promo for her Netflix special. And here's a clip.
Decided to take up gardening. I got chickens. Let me see what else I can tell you about that. Been going on. Oh yeah, I got kicked out of show business. Be kind girl wasn't kind. That was the headline. Here's the problem. I'm a comedian who got a talk show, and I ended the show every day by saying, be kind to one another. Had I ended my show by saying, go fuck yourselves, people would have been pleasantly surprised to find out I'm kind.
Megyn also targeted Ellen's A-list circle of defenders, pointing out how quickly her celebrity friends jumped to her defense once the scandal broke, and of course they did. They weren't the ones getting scolded for not refilling hand lotion or breathing too loudly in the hallway. They got the red carpet version of Ellen, the polished, press-approved image. Their support, Megyn said, was worth less than a coupon for Ellen's daytime show. Then Megyn challenged the narrative of Ellen as trailblazer. Sure, she broke barriers and changed the game, but then what? She used her success to build a fortress of control, not true inclusion. She didn't lift everyone up, only those willing and able to play the game. Megyn acknowledged Ellen was once brave, but somewhere along the way, courage was replaced with contracts, and sincerity swapped for scripts. She also ripped into Ellen's apology, describing it less as genuine accountability and more like damage control from someone annoyed they got caught. The tone was off, the body language defensive, and worst of all, Ellen kept trying to keep her brand alive, as if kindness was something you could trademark and just reboot after years of fallout.